Yeah, look, disappointed obviously in the game and the result. Give Akron a ton of credit. They have been a excellent team the last 2 years in particular, but for a long time. But the last 2 years in particular, they've lost one conference game in 2 years, and tonight they showed why. We just weren't ready or up for. I shouldn't say we weren't ready. We weren't up for the challenge. Start of the second half, we're down 10. We try to make an adjustment in terms of what we're trying to do defensively. And the very first shot, they get an offensive rebound, and then we're trying to make them drive the ball. And we give up a three, off the bounce three that they make. It's like, okay, we're not going to win doing it that way. So disappointed, and we have to bounce back here this week and then get ready for Cleveland.
Question for Coach.
Coach, just obviously you're going to have to go back and look at film and everything and look back, but just gut reaction, what is the biggest thing you guys are going to have to do if you have to play Akron in the tournament?
Well, they had 25 points off turnovers to our 9, so let's start there, right? Their points in the paint, we're supposed to be the more physical team. They had 30 points in the paint to our 24. It says 8-6 in fast break points. It was significantly more than that. The way they chart it is different than what it is. So we got killed in transition. We got killed off of turnovers. And we did not do anything of significance in the paint, which is where we need to be better than them. And we were not. We got out-rebounded by 11. Obviously their bench played great. Their bench is starters. They're just playing off the bench. So their bench played great. And, we have to play better if we're going to beat them.
They had 2 players go perfect from 3, 4 for 4 for Takari Johnson, and Scotty went 5 for 5. Just talk about what you saw from them.
Well, some of that is they're really good players. Some of that is we did not do some of the things we needed to do defensively. And some of that is transition and offensive rebound and how well they share the ball. So, some of that stuff, you could add Sharon Young, who in the first half, he really hurt us in the first half. There's a combination of all those things. One, some of that was we did not execute defensively what we were trying to execute at times. Some of it was we didn't get a defensive rebound that they would tip out or get that way on a 50-50 ball or whatever it might be. And then some of it was they're good players. And in transition, if you leave them open, they're going to make a lot of them. And they did tonight.
Rob, there's a few times when Rico struggles. I mean, how much their length inside really affect him?
Yeah, they played very physical. They did a really good job against him. Obviously focal point. He had a frustrating game for him. He didn't get to the free throw line. I know he was frustrated. He felt he got fouled a couple times. He struggled, but everyone struggled. He wasn't the only one that struggled. Everybody struggled, but he struggled. And certainly for us to beat them, we need to be dominant in the paint, and we weren't. Between him, Rob, those two in particular, we need to be dominant in the paint. We were not dominant in the paint, and give them credit for how they played and what you said with their physicality and making it really, really tough for him. And knowing him, he'll watch the film and get better from it. But I know he was frustrated because he gets to the free throw line a ton and he didn't tonight. So I know he was frustrated about that.
I don't know if you addressed this earlier. Was there a worry long term for Whaley? Because he came back.
No,
and played
he came back and played.
Okay.
He was fine. He was fine. He was fine. No worry at all.
Rob, I'm sorry, I missed
no problem.
the big picture. But what's your main takeaway from this?
Well, listen, the big picture, what I said to start is they have lost one league game, in conference over the last 2 years. They're really good, and tonight they played. I would think they would say they played at a high level tonight. We didn't. We did not meet the challenge that tonight was, and it's across the board. It's me before them, meaning my guys. It's me before the guys. I obviously didn't have us prepared for what we were going to see here tonight, and we didn't do a good enough job, competing. Like there were so many competing clips that it's like we're not competing the way you need to compete in these games. And quite frankly, we didn't compete Tuesday night for the majority of the night. We just made plays when we needed to, and it's just not going to work when you play Akron. It's just not. They're too good, and they have experience, and they have a winning DNA, and they have a toughness level that, like, you have to compete every second that you're on the floor, and when you don't, they expose you, and that's what happened tonight. I mean, that's what happened tonight. First half, some turnovers, our matchups in transition, not following some of the game plan, some of it, and then them just coming up with 50-50 balls, tip outs, getting steals when we get rebounds, like just stuff that we in order for us to win, we would have to do at a really high level, and we didn't. And we didn't play well, and give them credit for why we didn't play well. I don't want to say this is on, we didn't play well. Give them credit for why we didn't play well. They played at a really high level, and we did not match that level of play that you need to have.
Rob didn't play in the first game, so obviously it's not just about one guy. But I was just
We played better in the first game, right?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's a good question, because we, with Rob and Rico, our strength, and Morgan, our strength is at the basket. That's where our strength is. We got out-rebounded. We got out-offensive rebounded. They went to the free throw line more than we did. They had more points in the paint. They had more second chance points. So, like, every area we would need to do better than them. And I'm not saying we should do better than them. That's, like, we would need to do better than them. They have Amani Lyles, who's an all-conference player, and then they're playing with a lot of other pieces that are sort of wing forwards, right? And for us to win this game, not just they have to play. Well, we also have to. They had 5 assists and 6 turnovers. Like, they would have to have 8 assists and 2 turnovers. 5 assists and 1 turnover. And it's not. Reek tried. It's not for a lack of trying. I know he was frustrated. Again, I said this. He was frustrated because he only drew 2 fouls tonight. Like, normally he's drawing more fouls, but he didn't. And give them credit for all of that. Give them credit, and some stuff he probably has to learn from. And, like, okay, I gotta change this or adjust this, and he will, because he wants to be really good, so he will. But tonight wasn't his night. It wasn't our night, and a lot of that had to do with how high a level Akron played at tonight. But they've done that. I don't want to speak for John, but, like, they've done that a lot in the league. They've done that a lot. They maybe haven't done it, like, in a game here or there. It may have taken them 10 minutes before they've done it, but then they've done what they did for 40 minutes, 36 minutes. The game was over at 4-minute mark. At 36 minutes, they played at a really high level for 36 minutes. We didn't. We couldn't match it. We couldn't match their level, and that's disappointing, because I don't have young guys out there. Quinn, young guy, Dez, young guy. These guys are experienced and should know, and put that again. That falls on the coach and the coaching staff, that we didn't get them playing at the level we need to play at. But I've struggled with that a bunch this year. We were down 19 points at home to Central Michigan on Tuesday. That shouldn't happen. With all due respect to Central Michigan, that shouldn't happen, but it did. And we battled back and got a win. We've done that a lot. We've done that too many times this year. And then we tried to bring it, and we couldn't match their intensity level. We just couldn't. So, we have a week, 2 games in the week, and then we have to go to Cleveland. And, we're not going to play them in the first round. We're going to have a first-round opponent that's going to be, playing equally as hard as they played tonight. They may not be quite as good as Akron, but they're going to play equally as hard, because when you go to Cleveland, that's it. When you lose, that's it. If we don't play that hard, if we don't compete at our highest level in terms of competition, it'll be a short stay there. If we do, then, you know, we've shown we can beat everybody so far except for Akron and Miami. So then we'll get a chance, more than likely, again, they have to win their first game, then more than likely we'll get a chance to see if we've grown in the last, 10 days or not. And we have to play a little bit better. We shot the ball, well enough from three. We made 13 threes tonight. Like, we were under 50% from the free throw line. Outside of threes, our ability or inability, I should say, to finish around the rim, got to be better. Got to be better. They did a much better job than we did. A much better job.
Earlier in the game, it seemed like Rico ran off the floor. He was holding his shoulder. Was that bothering him at all, or?
No. He had a stinger. No, anything about injury this, injury that. Take that, throw that out. That is zero to do with anything that happened on the court tonight. Zero. That's zero to do with it. Zero. Nobody's. That's he was hurt. That's why. No. That has zero to do with how we played or why we played the way we played. Zero.
All right, thanks.
All right.